You know, they should have put Mark McGuire in the first WrestleMania. That guy could really tear it up.
Is he the one that ended up being on steroids?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know there's a lot of them.
You know, it was fun. I think it was maybe some kind of anniversary or something. I think it was maybe the 25th anniversary this year of him and Sammy Sosa breaking that home run record. And they showed the video of him hitting the 60-second home run to break Roger Maris's single-season home run record. And it is hilarious to watch because he looks like a He-Man action figure. Just huge with tiny little legs, and you're like, how did we not realize what was going on?
Oh man! All right, well there you go.
That's
Happy
it.
birthday once again,
Thank you.
Kirkwood.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
day
me.
after your birthday.
This has been it was a great day yesterday. It's yeah, a great day to hang with the kids, and we got some nice dinner.
Did you get birthday
I
cake?
went and yes, my
What's
wife.
your birthday cake choice?
My wife makes me this apple cake that I love that my mom always made for me when I was
That's so
young.
sweet.
So it's very sentimental, but it also tastes really great. And then I was feeding it to the kids this morning for breakfast because it's got apples.
It's got fruit
so
in
you
it.
can
It's got
kinda-
fruit,
you can
milk,
pass it on.
eggs. I mean,
Yeah, it's part of a balanced breakfast. I saw that on the Babylon Bee this week. It's like the headline was "Man eating huge bowl of Count Chocula." Not quite sure if this is really part of a balanced breakfast.
yeah.
It's finally entering his mind that maybe this isn't part of a balanced breakfast.
I guess it
After
depends
all,
on what you're trying to balance.
I love the Babylon Bee too. Has it become a problem? Do I like the Babylon Bee too
I
much?
don't think so.
We can do even
I don't
more.
think so.
We can go even more. Babylon Bee, huge recommendation. Anything else we need to talk about from yesterday before we talk some about the message?
We did celebrate here at Valleydale the Independence Day of the church at Old Town the previous Sunday on November 5th. That's the church in Old Town Helena that we helped replant, as you said, a little bit over 2 years ago in June of 2021.
And I didn't want to make, and I think it was the right decision not to make a big deal about this yesterday, but obviously Pastor Jeff was huge behind the scenes with making sure that church got started on the right foot. And Pastor Josh Kaniram, he was the student pastor here and then changed roles to become the senior pastor over there, and he was also a huge help. And then of course, Johanna, our good friend here, you were the worship leader there for 2 whole years.
2 years.
So many thanks to you.
Loved it.
There's a lot of applause coming here in the studio. You just can't.
well,
You
I
can't
can't
hear
see
it
or
very
hear.
well. There it is.
Because
Can't
it looks
see
like
it
they're
even
looking on
happening.
their phones.
Yes.
So I was just confused.
Old Town history.
Purely an optical illusion. But yeah, so that was good to celebrate that. Continuing to say Happy Veterans Day to all of our.
Thank
do you
you
say
for your service.
Do you say veterans or veterans?
Had to look it up to make sure my post is correct. It is plural because it's many veterans.
Oh, I did. Okay, I was thinking about just the pronunciation of the word. Is it 3 syllables or is it
Veterans.
2? Is it
I don't know.
veterans or is it veterans?
What feels better to you when you say prayer?
I don't
So-
know. I do say that. You know,
Veterans.
as
Do
I
that
get
one.
older, I take more joy in mispronouncing certain things. I don't know why that is, but actually, let's talk about that. We haven't talked about me
Veterans?
enough on the.
Veterans? How do you want to mispronounce it?
No, I don't know. Let's just talk about the text. I've taken too much time. So you've got your notes on your computer here.
I do. So our scripture passage was Matthew 25, 1 through 13,
That's
as you
right.
mentioned. I did just see in Barry's notes a reminder that he was preaching from the ESV, not the NASB 95, which, there was a little bit of controversy yesterday morning. It's okay. Somehow I got the wrong translation. Kurt got pretty upset, but I think we're good now.
Was I upset?
No.
I was confused.
I was
that's
confused
for sure.
too because I was like, he said NASB 95, and this is what I printed out because I had to print it out and put it in my Bible because the print in my Bible is about a font size 2. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it's
it is
It's
low.
the same Bible, but the font's gotten increasingly smaller over the years.
I wish that Barry was here so I could ask him how much longer he's going to be an ESV guy. And I say that because I went and picked up his Bible to give back to him, and the cover is completely destroyed.
It looks like a dog, actually. I wonder if it was their squirrel.
That's right. The Chesneys have a unique pet. They have a pet squirrel. It's possible that the squirrel just ate the
It
cover
definitely looks
right
like
off.
a chunk has been taken out of it by something.
Little known fact that squirrels
used.
do love imitation leather. They do love to eat that. Didn't know that.
Didn't know that
Till
either.
yesterday.
Squirrel trivia. Next
so-
week's sermon recap.
He was preaching from ESV. Well, that's convenient because that's my daily carry is the ESV anyway. So, yeah, very convicting, and it's a warning passage in a sense. And Barry, not only did he give us some really fierce application, some sharp application, but he also took us through, I thought, a deeper understanding of the ancient Hebrew wedding ritual, and understanding that more is really key to this passage. Now, do you have detailed enough notes to take us back through some of those things?
I just have his main points. I was going to
okay.
ask you, like, what were some of the wedding details you were talking about?
Well, and he went through it pretty quick, so I didn't write down all 7 phases, but he described the wedding happening in 7 phases, and there's different points of preparation. One that people know pretty well is the fact that the bridegroom, that is the groom, goes to the woman's house, and the wedding ceremony happens there, and that was either step 3 or 4, and then you have the ceremony, and then you have the feast, and then only after all of that do you have the actual consummation of the marriage. I think that was number 7. So, but in between all of these elements, you have hours, maybe days of time. Like, it is a really long celebration. Which, let's time out there for a second, because, and I know you'll be able to say amen to this. Like, it's funny to look at that and say, wow, their wedding ceremonies were just so long and so lavish. But we do the exact same thing these days. I don't know that all of it has as much spiritual significance, but there's like all of these
the showers leading up to it.
Oh my goodness, there's so many of them.
The engagement pictures, engagement party, showers leading up to it, counseling, hopefully, premarital counseling. Right? I'm a big advocate of it.
No, I am too. But yeah, that's part of these things in our culture that you do to prepare to be married. And there's the wedding ceremony itself, which over time now we have the rehearsal, because you rehearse the ceremony. Oh, we got to have supper afterwards. So you have special rehearsal dinner, and now like people are getting entertainment and all these other things for the rehearsal dinner, which is like a huge lavish party. And then you have the wedding, which is just
become more and more brief. The ceremony itself has become more and more brief over the years.
Even though the dress of everyone is still very formal. It's perhaps the most formal occasion that the average person will attend in their lifetime is a wedding ceremony. Yeah, but you're right. The ceremony itself gets shorter and shorter, and then the reception afterwards though is just lavish. Like, it's just some of the best food that you'll eat, and drinks as well, and then that can last for hours and hours. And then at the end of that, we have like sort of the anti-processional, where I don't even know what you call that, the runaway, or the getaway. You have the getaway of the bride and groom, and everybody's holding sparklers or
throwing things at them.
They used to throw the bird. Where did the bird seed go? Why don't we do that anymore?
I think it's slippery. I think some of the venues started saying, hey, we can't use that because it causes people to slip and fall. You can't do rice because the birds eat it and it's bad for them, I believe, because when the rice gets wet, it expands in their little tummies.
And then we have the little tummies. Okay, I'm gonna let that one go.
But most birds are very tiny, which I think is indicative of a small stomach.
Did you know that a hummingbird weighs the same as a penny?
No, but I'm not surprised.
I just had, you look at it and it looks like, oh, well, that should be more dense, but no, their bones are hollow and all this.
Birds are, I guess I shouldn't say surprisingly, because they are, they do fly, but they're surprisingly light. Like when they have like the parakeet sanctuaries and stuff like that you can go to, and they land on you and they feel like nothing. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, well, we should stop throwing bird seed and just throw birds at each other, but some people actually do that because they'll release doves at a wedding. That's something
the exact same thing as throwing birds at each other.
It's similar to it. So the point is, and we went too far into it, but
Lots
the
of
point
bread.
is we have all kinds of celebratory measures that happen at our weddings today, which I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It just shows that throughout history, weddings have been a really big deal. There's something to be celebrated. It's just it's the part of the continuation of culture is a wedding. You know, we're all participating in these rituals together, and that propagates the ritual. And we also understand that the union of these two people is going to produce more children, which is going to continue the culture and our livelihood for generations. So that's one of the reasons it's special. All of that, suffice to say, there were lots of times in these ancient rituals where it was hurry up and wait, which is why if they're waiting on the bridegroom, and they have to keep this oil lamp burning because it's their job to do a parade of sorts, a processional with the bridegroom.
Right.
I think I'm right on that
Yes,
so far.
and he kept them waiting long enough that they fell asleep. So yeah, it was, and it was at midnight. So I mean, we're talking. It was basically bedtime.
You have these 10 young women. It either says young women or virgins, depending on your translation. 5 of them have they have brought enough oil to keep their I keep wanting to say candles because I'm thinking of Point of
Their
Grace.
lamps.
When you're walking through the dead of night and your soul is turning. Okay. So they're keeping the oil lamp burning, and then 5 of them the scripture describes as foolish, and they don't have enough. That is enough of a setup, I think, for us to talk about. Barry described them as faulty assumptions that we make. False assumptions that we make.
Failing to prepare reveals our faulty assumptions. It was a very interesting list. And again, we're really talking about preparing our eternal souls for the afterlife.
That's the overwhelming symbolism in
Right.
this passage. That's the reason that Jesus is telling this
So
parable.
understanding that that's what we're talking about, he said some people will assume that someone else will assist.
Yikes.
Which is very interesting that some people still do have that mentality. Well, and I think he mentioned this, like my grandmother, was a Christian. Like I was raised in the church, and that you're, to use a term that they used many years ago, often just riding on the coattails of someone else, and that's not going to work.
It's interesting, and I'd love to pick Barry's brain about this as well, because Josh Pike and I have been talking a lot about covenantal theology, and because there is a sense in which faith is passed through generations, and we see in the Old Testament as well that and I was actually reading with my kids this morning. We've been reading Deuteronomy at the breakfast table, and there's all of these times where God says, okay, you need to go wipe out my enemies from the face of the earth. And he wipes out all of them, even the women and children, which these are very difficult passages. I'm not saying that they're not difficult passages to interpret, but the point is all of them are of the same faith and this same false covenant before me. So it's interesting to me that there is a sense in which that faith is one and the same for the young and the old. However, what Pastor Barry said is exactly right. At the end of all things, do you have this personal relationship with Christ? Have you called upon the name of the Lord, and have you been saved? That's effectively what another person cannot do for you.
Right.
They can't do that for you. So I know that was a little bit of a deviation, but Barry's not here to rein me in. You got to rein me in more.
Okay. I'll do my best.
I don't mean that.
I'll do my best.
You can't assume that somebody else is going to have your faith for you. What was the next assumption we need to talk about?
Assume we will have ample time.
Wow.
Which, we actually talked a little bit about this after Pastor's message on Jerusalem several weeks ago, where people start hearing, they start seeing things happening in the news, or someone actually boldly comes out and says, he's coming back on this day, or
sure. Oh, yeah, Jesus
this year,
will
this
return
month,
on
or whatever.
such
And everybody kind of starts panicking and talking about it. And, bottom line is, last line of that passage is, no one knows the day or the hour.
Right.
Much less, none of us is guaranteed the next breath.
Right.
Much less, weeks, months, years at a time to get right, to make the decision to follow him, or
And both of those unknowns are pertinent to this point. You don't know how long your own life will last, and you don't know how long this age will last before Christ comes back. And because of those things, you cannot assume that you have enough time. One thing, and this statement is applicable in so many ways, the whole thing of like, well, the best time to start believing in Christ was, 30 years ago, right? But the second best time is right now. That is still the best time to make this decision and move forward. Mm-hmm. It's the whole thing. Today's the first day of the rest of your life.
Right.
So make that connection, make that statement, make that challenge to other people. I don't think that we have a lot of believers that tune in. I don't think we have a lot of non-believers that tune in with us here on the podcast. So for those of you, use that as an evangelism tool to help people understand that the time is near.
Which was part of Barry's application, and we'll get back to that third point, but it also goes to one of our values, which is evangelism with urgency. There should be an urgency to helping people understand who they are and who they are in relationship with God and what that relationship needs to look like to guarantee eternal life with Him.
Great connection to our values, yeah, and we don't review those often enough. Evangelism must be done with urgency in a sense. I think obviously that's tempered based on the kind of relationships that you have with other people, and we have to listen to the Spirit. But the act of evangelism in general is urgent because we understand that there is a need for people to believe because hell is real and Christ's return is imminent.
Mm-hmm. And then his third in that list of faulty assumptions was assuming Jesus will be agreeable, which I thought was an interesting word for him to use.
Wow, yeah. He said he talked about what it would look like. I think that's when he used maybe the Jimmy Butler illustration, which I loved that because I've confessed that I'm a big NBA fan. He talked about how Jimmy Butler in the regular season playing basketball he called him, what is it, like decent or pretty good? Mm-hmm. Pretty good, and or passable. I can't remember what he said, but he said he was like he did enough to get by. But in the playoffs, suddenly he was totally different. He would knock the top out. He was exceptional. And Barry even brought that back to himself. He's like, I can't just be passable, because I can't just assume that everything's going to be fine if I just coast on by. Our pastor in Nashville used to use the phrase "fight the drift." We will always drift towards being more lackadaisical, more lazy. We'll drift towards doing less. What are we doing to fight against that tendency? And obviously, Jimmy Butler has something dialed in to where, like, when the time comes, he can fight against that tendency. But spiritually, it's that much more important.
It is, yeah. If you're not being intentional, you will drift. And when you drift, you don't know where you're going, and you certainly don't know where you're going to end up. And that's the danger in that.
And that's where Barry finished it, was the strong challenge to, we all want to end up before the throne of Christ hearing, well done, my good and faithful servant. We don't want the opposite of that. And there's really only one, in terms of your eternity, there's only those two outcomes. You will hear that or you won't hear that, and you'll be eternally separated from Him. Which in this day and age, more than ever, is difficult to talk about because we live in such an age of
blurred lines.
Blurred lines, shades of gray, live your own truth. If it's true to you, it must be true, that sort of postmodern approach. So let that be convicting to you today, and I pray that it'll help you as you share with others, Joanna.
Yes, there is an urgency. That's your reminder as we sign off.
It wasn't guaranteed that I was going to live 38 years.
But thank God.
Thank God I have.
He's made it.
Here's to 38 more. I'd be 76 years old. That would be 2041. 2041.
That's weird to think about.
It is really weird to think about. I don't really want to think about that.
No.
38 years from now, my 2-year-old, well, she's not 2 yet, but she'll be almost 40. That's wow.
No, it's not 41. It's 61.
61, you're right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking it's 2003 for a second. 2061. Wow.
See you then.
See you then. Okay. Hey, Pastor's going to be back in the saddle this week, and we're really excited to see him. I've been cutting up at his expense, so he's probably going to have his revenge on me next week, and we'll swap some more Winston Churchill stories.
Perfect.
Love you guys. See ya.
All right. I'm recording.
Why didn't you keep it going?
Because I couldn't, because I started laughing.
So we were just talking about how Joanna and I are actually long lost brother and sister.
Yep.
Obviously, you're.
Don't tell our separate sets of parents.
There's something about. There was something about we have cameras that record our services, and the color. There's some. Are you okay?
I just dropped my ring. It's okay. No big deal.
There's something about the color of the cameras. You know, it's never completely true to life.
Absolutely.
But there's something about, like, our hair color looked like identical.
It looked very close
shade.
yesterday.
So.
Which was confusing to me because I think I told you one of my favorite stories about my family, and there are many, is that, was it just last Christmas? Maybe 2 Christmases ago at the most.
It's Lily.
Lily started it, right? She was like, well, you know, Kirk's a ginger. And I said, what?
I still can't believe this. This was last year.
She was like, yeah, he's a ginger. And so, huge debate in my house. Like, nothing was thrown. Everybody's okay at this point. But 2 of us were like, he is blonde. And the other 2 were like, no, Kirk is a ginger.
I'm just amazed that y'all, like, had enough time in your busy schedule to sit down and have a family debate over my hair color.
It was so funny. Yeah.
So many people, let's just air all this out.
Let's
so
do
many
it.
people are just like, so where do you go to have your hair colored? And I'm like, I don't.
Really?
I don't.
They think you have it done?
Oh yeah, I've had so many people
That's
ask
so
me
funny.
that.
Well, you know, they asked Ken that. And for those of you who don't know my husband, he has this beautiful,
Oh, yes.
kind of, it does look like a balayage
That's
kind
gonna
of
be-
beard, right?
We need, for the thumbnail, we need Ken standing
He'll
right
be in.
here.
Yeah, he'll be in. Don't worry.
But he literally has people, and I think especially guys, say to him, how do you get your beard? Or like, he's like, he told one kid one time, I just concentrate really hard. But it's just, he has a graying beard, and it is a lovely beard. But yeah, for people to think that he does it intentionally is really funny to me.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
So we start. Wow. So it is the Christmas season. We have one of our many wreaths. It is the Christmas season. This is one of the many wreaths that we have over the grounds.
The property.
We did some of the hanging of the greens this past week. If you came to service on Sunday, you saw we've got these beautiful Christmas trees in the lobby.
Yeah, lots of new stuff in the cafe. That was fun to do.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the new cafe. Here's the designer extraordinaire.
Don't give me credit for that.
Of all that.
There's definitely people that don't like it, but it's okay. I mean, I haven't heard anything, but that's just always the case.
I guess before we get even further into our time today, we should mention that Pastor Barry's not here this morning. So he wasn't feeling too well, and I applaud him for preaching so well yesterday in spite of not feeling great. But yeah, he's out, so prayers for his.
And you guys know how it
recovery.
goes, like Pastor Mac, Rick, and then I'm like third on the bench
That's right,
to step in.
Yeah,
when
well,
needed,
I always call Rick every Monday morning, but he has yet to call me back.
Wow,
I don't know
that's really
what else
considerate.
is,
I'm sorry about that.
I don't really know what else could be going on with him. But here we are, and it's a Christmas season, and so we are going to talk about Pastor Barry's message from Matthew 25. Some great points there, but as always, before we do, producer Joanna has prepared a few things for, I don't know. So are we going to have fun today? Is
Absolutely
that the idea?
not. This is very serious,
Very
and I
serious,
expect
yeah.
you to cry at least once, if not multiple times.
All right, I'm going to work up some tears.
For those of
right
you
now.
who do not know and did not hear, yesterday was Kirk's birthday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just the direction we're going. Thank you, everyone.
And really, and I forgot about it yesterday. A terrible coworker, and that's fine. We all know that. But
Please don't worry about
really, what I wanted you to experience was how I feel on my birthday most years. So that's why we put up the Christmas decorations
that.
first.
That's right, because yours is
No one acknowledges. My birthday is December 28th.
It's the
Not a
28th.
great
I
time to
couldn't
have a
remember
birthday.
28th or
It's okay.
29th, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, so no one ever We never celebrate your birthday in the office.
Nobody's ever
'Cause
here.
no one's ever here.
Which
That's
is
always
great.
in
Thank
the
you for that week. Once
Yes.
again, personnel committee and
Yes, that is nice. With the
all
office
who
is
are
closed.
responsible for that. So, but in honor of Kirk's birthday,
Yeah, here I am.
you were 38 now.
Yes, I was born in the year of our Lord, 1985.
1985. I did the math last night. Actually, I looked it up in CCB, but I did want to make sure I had the right year. So I have some 1985 trivia for you.
All right, let's do it.
And you should know all this because you were born.
I remember
You know,
it well.
you probably went to the grocery store often, listened to a lot of music.
We're gonna do grocery prices again.
So we are, just because, so we did all that with the 50th, but it's fun, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm having so much fun right now. Here's the irony. I don't know anything about grocery shopping like right now. So how am I gonna know what it was like in 19... Well, I don't know. Maybe I knew more because I would go with my mother to the grocery store. She would take. So
Right.
maybe,
And from your baby carrier, you would
maybe I
notice,
can
wow, eggs have gone
remember.
up or whatever. I've also challenged myself for this segment not to use my hands.
Yeah.
when I-
Okay.
when
So
I
that
speak.
was last time you were talking about how there was so much hand action. I'm sure that I do way more than you. So you go right ahead.
Probably gonna develop a tick if I
Okay.
try to, if I don't. But anyway,
All right. You just
So-
hold it down here.
cost of eggs in 1985.
Oh, it's 69 cents.
Not far, 80 cents.
80 cents. Okay.
Gallon of milk,
$1.29.
$2.20.
Oh.
Gallon of gas. This is probably one of the first times she'll cry.
This
will be
is
the first time you cry.
a trick question. 75 cents.
$1.12.
That's so interesting to me because something changed when I was in high school. I remember gas went down to, I think it went down to, was it 99 cents? No, was it $1.09? I can't remember what it was. Never mind. Gas got really cheap for some reason. I'm sure it was something with us bombing Afghanistan. or
All I
something.
remember about gas when I was in high school is that I could get my car washed and fill up my tank for like easily under $30.
Wow.
So,
But see, you actually wash your car.
I do wash my car. I like
And
a
your
clean
car, I must say, your car always looks great.
Thank you.
I vacuum my car often because I do like it to be clean on the inside, but I very rarely wash it, which, people can write in and tell me why that's probably bad for the car and it'll cause rust and that sort of thing.
We're really anxious to hear from you guys.
I'm pretty close to being able to get like antique tags for my car. I think I'm gonna.
That'll be fun.
That'll be good. People are like, oh, it's a classic.
You start taking it to car shows?
It's just old. That would be so funny.
Lift up
Here's
the
my
hood.
07 Honda Pilot here at the car show.
Ooh, it's so rare. Original paint? Really?
Well, what's left of it is original.
All right, moving on. What was the #1 movie in the year of your birth?
Oh man, 85. I think the Goonies came out that year. That wouldn't be Oh, was it Back to the Future?
It was.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. Back
It
to
earned
the Future.
$198.8 million.
Just domestically, probably.
It's 210.6 total, and it spent nearly 40 weeks in the theater.
That just makes me so happy. That is such
Isn't
a
that fun?
great movie. That is one of those ones that's so part of the cultural lexicon now.
Yes.
Back to the Future. When we were playing with, so Rick he sang a song at the men's gathering on Thursday
Heard about that,
night.
yeah.
And he kept doing those stupid Back to the Future references where he's like, watch me for the changes and try to keep up. He must have said that like 4 times. It's like Rick. He was so excited. It was fun.
Good. TV shows. I've got just a list of 4 TV shows that began in 1985. Do you want to just throw some guesses out?
That began? So
It was
not
our
the
first year on the
number
air.
one.
Yeah.
Because I already knew that the #1 show in 85 was The Cosby Show, which
Right.
we're not even allowed to say that anymore.
That's the next question. So we are going to hit on the
okay.
#1s.
Oh, we
but
are.
what are some that started that year, you think?
Did Family Ties start that year?
It did not.
Okay. The ones that started, now that's difficult. Did Cop Rock start that year?
If it did, it was not on my list. I don't know. And I don't even know what that is.
Night Court?
No.
Okay,
I'll bet you out of misery. MacGyver.
MacGyver started in
Which
85.
I feel like as a male, you should know that.
I
but
should
okay.
I should know that.
The Golden Girls.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Growing Pains.
My wife loves that show. Oh, Growing Pains, what a fun show.
And Larry King Live.
God rest his soul, Larry King passed away recently. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know any of those.
I was about to ask who's on the air, so I'm glad.
No,
I did.
Pastor and I talked about it, because
Okay.
we were talking about like miraculous longevity, like Moses lived at 120 and Larry King lived at 147.
Wow.
That's not true.
I did not know that.
I think it was 90. Okay, what else
All
we
right,
got?
so Family Ties is one of the 3 top shows. So we got The Cosby Show, Family Ties, and Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, yes.
Which I have to tell you, it makes me feel even older than I am. Angela Lansbury.
Thank you, Mrs. Potts.
But if I run across those reruns, I'm going to watch it.
Murder, She Wrote.
And it is some of the most melodramatic.
I was more of a Matlock guy. I caught a lot of Matlock in syndication.
Yes.
Which, again, that's Andy Griffith. I know more about Matlock than I do about the Andy Griffith Show, so apologies to Pastor Mac. I'm sorry about that.
Hopefully he can forgive you. Any idea what the top 5 songs of '85 were?
So, I thought, I know that I did a video one time for my sister-in-law because she was also born in '85, and so I thought that Chicago's "You're the Inspiration" was a big one.
Oh, well, I mean, it may have been a big one. It's not one of the top 5 of the year.
'85 was a big year for George Michael.
It was for Wham specifically.
Was it the "Wake Me Up Before You Go" song?
Yes, that was one.
That's not the number one.
It was not.
Was Wham also the number one?
Yes.
It's got to be "Careless Whisper."
It was.
Yes! I am on fire today! Yes! Yes!
Kirkwood Bullis, huge fan of Wham. Now we know. The second one was a Madonna song that I won't say the name of, so I'm sure we can guess what it was.
You said it yesterday when we read Matthew 25.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like 10 virgins waiting at the door.
Okay. We'll cut that part out for sure.
Thank you.
1985, Jared just sent me a text. 1985, Bowling for Soup.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about this. Bowling for Soup.
All right, I'm going to give you some trivia on Bowling for Soup.
About Bowling for Soup?
About 1985. The song.
Do you want me to just sing it?
No.
Okay.
I'm
so
asking questions.
come over here. I didn't know that this was going to be such a discussion on 1985. Does John Sistrunk remember 1985? That's what I want to know.
The only reason,
he always stumps me with the pop culture stuff.
The only reason I know anything about 1985 is because Sarah is obsessed with this song.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think because she has sisters that were born maybe shortly after 1985.
So there's a band called Bowling for Soup, and they had I can't remember what their first song was, but then randomly, like 5 years later, they're like a 2-hit wonder. Bowling for Soup is. What's the other song?
I think it's their only good song.
Look at that.
Yeah, they look great.
Do you know the song well?
I remember the chorus.
That's not gonna help.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you trivia about Debbie.
Who did? Debbie.
She just hit the wall.
Yes. What anxiety medication was Debbie on?
Prozac.
Oh, all right, that was good. All right, what was her dream job?
She wasn't born in 1985, though.
Okay, well, she lived in the prime of her life in 1985.
She wanted to be a stock trader.
No,
her
she'll be an
husband
actress.
was a stock trader.
Right.
CPA.
That was huge.
That's a stock trader.
CPA is a certified public accountant.
Well, that's the same thing.
Money.
They all trade
Okay,
stocks.
I think I'm kicking
It's
you
all
off.
money.
Wait.
All right.
Last question.
One more chance.
She's seen the classics. She knows every line. What classics did she see? Victor, what was called?
The classic. Is it the classic movies? She's
Yes.
seen the classics. She knows every line.
Oh.
I'm gonna say another 1985
Think
movie.
the Brat Pack.
Oh, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No, Breakfast.
It is a breakfast.
Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Sorry, Breakfast Club. So she knows so all the John Hughes movies.
Yes.
She knows that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
This even mentions Wham.
It does mention
So
Wham.
you
And
we
Limp
have a lot in
Bizkit.
common.
What's that?
Great band, Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit wasn't around in 1985. Why are we even talking about
It's
this?
in the song.
She's mad that Limp Bizkit is now popular.
Oh yeah.
As all of us are.
There you go.
Just be clear, Debbie, not Debbie Brunson.
Debbie Brunson.
We are not talking
This is
about.
okay.
Just
yeah.
in case anyone. Yeah.
So 1985, big year, was also Mark McGuire's rookie year. Still sad that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I have no sports trivia.
Mark McGuire. Were there any other sports trivia? The 85 Chicago Bears. And I can't. Did they win the Super Bowl in '86? Was it the next year?
I don't know.
That was the greatest defense
The
of all
Bears?
time. Chicaga Bears?
Was that Mike Ditka era?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you said Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl.
Oh, you said World Series. I was like, wait a minute.
The Bears won the Super Bowl, and That was the greatest defense of all time until, of course, my beloved year 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
Of course, yes.
When they won the Super Bowl with somehow no offense, it was just all defense.
All right. Enough of the sports stuff.
Okay,
what's a popular Christmas children's book that hit the shelves in 85?
Christmas children's book.
It has
just
become
came
a
out.
huge Christmas thing
Is
at
it
schools.
Elf on the Shelf?
No. At schools, they usually have a day for this. It is a movie, kind of a creepy animated movie, at least the way the animation's done.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
No.
That was like 91 or something.
Polar Express. Polar Express.
Oh, Polar Express.
Can we agree that the animation's a little creepy? Yes, we can.
Is that Chris Van Allsburg? Chris, I think who wrote that? What was his name that wrote that?
I don't know.
You're not even gonna, okay.
I'm not gonna look it up because I have other interesting things to.
Okay.
to
Wow, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah, we're running out of time here. I picked two noteworthy technology releases for that year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, one is software, the other is hardware.
Software noteworthy was.
A 1.0 of something came out.
It's got to be Windows then, Microsoft
It was.
Windows. Yeah.
It was $99.
Microsoft Windows 1.0.
It was poorly received for being slow, and in the New York Times, they likened it to pouring molasses in the Arctic.
Most people, people at that point weren't really familiar with graphic user interfaces. Everyone was just like, it was MS-DOS or bust.
Mm-hmm.
What most people remember about the beginning of Windows is Windows 3.1. And a lot of people are watching this right now wondering why in the world know anything.
Because you're kind of a nerd, so I need
Just
you to
a
know
little
some
bit
of
of a nerd. So I'm guessing, did the Macintosh come out in 85?
No.
Is that the... So this is now a hardware release,
Yes.
technologically. Was it the Walkman?
No.
Okay.
So in July of that year, Commodore released the Amiga personal computer.
Oh, wow.
It had a 13-inch screen. It cost $1,600 and featured a floppy disk drive and 256 kilobytes of RAM.
256 kilobytes.
Which is
of
less
RAM.
than your iPhone.
Oh my gosh.
Way less. A whole computer.
This probably has 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM.
There were three big products that you may or may not know of that were released in 85.
These are just products?
Products. Things that were sold.
And they were new?
Mm-hmm. New.
Oh, the new Coke?
Yes.
That came out in 85?
Yes.
Wow, what a scandal that was.
Bombed.
And to this day, that's why we have Coca-Cola Classic.
Yes.
Fascinating.
And one of this is a game that's still around and very popular.
Mousetrap?
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, that was that year?
Super Mario Brothers.
Super
yes.
Mario Brothers, not just Mario
Following
Brothers.
up on Mario Brothers, that's
right.
correct.
That's the one that most people remember.
And a board game.
Oh boy, this is so difficult. I already said Mousetrap. You said no. A board, and it's still popular today?
Probably not popular, but I think a lot of people know what it is.
Just go ahead and tell me
Pictionary.
what it is. Pictionary came out for the first time in 1985.
Yeah.
Wow. Eventually became a TV show even.
Yes.
Mario Brothers Super Mario Brothers in 1985.
And then I have one huge noteworthy event that was just random, but I knew you'd be super excited about it. On March 31st, in the year of your birth, the inaugural WrestleMania.
Oh yes, now we are talking. Yes.
Do you have any idea who the main event? It was a tag team.
Okay. Was it Andre the Giant?
No.
Are there? Is it guys I know?
Yes, you would know their names for sure.
Ric Flair.
No.
The Macho Man Randy Savage. How am I not?
Is anyone
guessing
keeping
this?
track of how many wrestler names he knows?
How many guesses? Was it the Ultimate Warrior?
No.
I'm too late. That's the problem.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan was
Hulk
one.
Hogan was in the first one?
Yes. Who was his tag teammate? I feel like this is just going to blow your mind. You may not even be able to keep going after
The
this.
funny thing is that Pastor would know this if he was here, because we've talked about WrestleMania multiple times, and he always knows more than I do. Okay, just tell
I'm
me.
so excited to tell you. It was Mr. T.
Mr. T was in the first. That's awesome. I've got to get on YouTube. Get those numbers on my desk. I want to see the first
They defeated
WrestleMania.
Paul Orndorff
I don't know.
and Roddy Piper.